Welcome back to another episode of Talking Tarkov. I'm the EarLegAthlete here with,
Hey, Dizzle.
and this week, while we don't have a lot of new news to cover, we do have the new weekly boss spawn rotation, and we figured now would be a great time to discuss some of the ideas we've had or have heard from around the community. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Like I said, there's not a lot to go over this week, so we're kind of in a gray area, and it's late wipe. We're kind of just waiting for news and updates, and them to say wipe coming soon, or start events, or start a new event, or something. We're kind of in that waiting
Yeah,
period. So we've just been kind
definitely a
of,
gray area.
yeah,
You
for
could say
sure.
a gray zone.
Yeah, you could say we were in the middle of a gray zone, and it's kind of like warfare in between. It's like no, but while we're in this lull of lack of Tarkov things, and everybody's kind of done what they want to do for the wipe, and we're kind of just chilling and hanging out. We have been playing some Gray Zone Warfare, especially with the 0.3 update, Winds of War. Uh,
Yeah,
a lot of really good changes. The main gripes I had about the game were progression, pacing. Like pacing's always been a big one, especially in these type of games. You have to be able to pace well if it's going to be something that people want to continue to play. If you have to,
right.
like previous Gray Zone, go out to the field, complete a task or two or three at most, go back to your fob or your base or whatever, and then from there turn in those tasks, pick up new tasks, go back out to the
Yeah,
field. And with the game like Gray Zone, when you're in the field, it's not like Tarkov where you're just in the map. It's a big open world. Even if you're just in Fa Lang, the starting area, or depending on what faction you went with, we went with Lamang, so we start Fa Lang.
Lamang
And
gang.
Lamang gang. But yeah, so if you start there, you go to Fa Lang, and like just traversing around the area and completing tasks, it can be a little time consuming already because the map is pretty
Yeah,
decent size. And
yeah,
they
it's
don't,
very big.
after you complete like the first few tasks, they stop giving you markers. You actually have to start reading it and looking for it and figuring it out on your own. So with little to no map knowledge, it can really take some time to find items, find keys, find this, that, and the other, and just get your tasks done. So that was always like, I can't stand that. It's one of the things that really drove me away from wanting to play Gray Zone pretty consistently.
Well, it's
But
like it
with
works in Tarkov, going back to your base and like turning everything
yeah, but
in because when you extract, you just extract. You don't have to like
right,
walk to it or ride a helicopter to it. And
right,
then you go back into the map, you just go into the map.
exactly.
Gray
And
Zone was making you walk to do all that. So, and it was
no
just
matter what,
downtime because the game's not progressing during all that.
exactly. And no matter what in Tarkov, you're in there for 40 to 35 minutes. Like, right, it depends on the raid or the map you go into, but like you're on a limited time frame. With Gray
Right.
Zone, you could be in there working on those 2, 3 tasks for however long it takes you.
Yeah.
So pacing always felt bad, and then my other gripe with it was the fact that we didn't have like a good day night cycle. We didn't have good flashlights or anything for that. It was just like it just always daytime, always the same sounds, always the same situations. Nothing really changed. Um, and those were my two biggest complaints on it. Did you like what was there anything that I didn't touch on that you think you would complain about pretty frequently?
Well, no, like, and
Performance,
just
obviously.
to right, but which we got beefy systems, so we usually aren't affected by it. I know a lot of people are. A lot of people are having issues.
Right.
Um, but yeah, like I agree. It's the downtime was the killer because it's like you go all the way into the starter map and you get you got three missions. You got one from each trader that's there at the start. You do all three of them, and then to even progress at all, you got to turn around, go all the way back to
All the
base,
way.
turn
And that's
those
if a
in, get
helicopter's
new
available.
missions. Yeah, yeah, if a helicopter, or if not, you just got to run.
Right.
But then you get new missions, and then it's turn around, and do it again, and it took forever. So having the ability to do all that on the go and like the mission system being able to be done wherever is great, but then also having the cops or the fobs, that just it makes traveling so much easier because you have basically a base within 10 minutes everywhere you are. Like no
Right.
matter where you are, you can walk 10 minutes and you're at a base.
Yeah, worst case
Um
scenario, you're out somewhere that your faction hasn't captured the cop for. So you do
right.
have to, fight a little bit and clear it and take it, which seems to be relatively easy. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah,
that
on
was
PvE, uh PvE you fight AI, on PvP you just whoever finds it first, you defend it against other
yeah,
people.
yeah,
So but yeah, that I mean that was my biggest gripe. The pacing, like you said, that was probably what really would kill the game, like kill my
Right.
want to play it the most.
Yeah, I
And
don't think
now that that's fixed, I found myself just wandering around, just having fun, just going from area to area.
for sure. Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think I would actually have picked Gray Zone back up if it was still the same way. Or at least I'm
No,
sure I would have picked it
absolutely
back
not.
up, checked out the update, but then as soon as I'm riding the helicopter 2 or 3 times, I'm just like, "Okay, yeah, I'm going back to
Yeah.
Tarkov." Like, this just doesn't do it. It's just
Well, and it's
too
cool
much
because
downtime.
we still have the helicopter system. So if you still do need to get back to base, or if you need to get somewhere really far away, you can still call a heli. And now that people aren't using them 24/7, they're usually
They're
available.
available, yeah.
So it's made that a lot better. Um, my biggest gripe is still the faction system and the PvP.
That's
I
very
just want
true. The
something
faction
different.
system needs to be changed.
Well, and it's like early on,
You could have
considering you can,
go ahead.
considering you can just play PvE and you can just get yourself geared up and have all the best weapons and best ammo and all that before you even go into PvP. Tarkov early wipe is so great because everyone's using bad armor,
Everything,
bad
yeah.
weapons, bad ammo. So it makes the fights funny, like sometimes ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
it's fun. Gray Zone is missing out on all that because you can just choose
Spend your
when to
first
go
couple
into
days,
PvP.
grind out, get some stuff, head
Yeah.
into PvP.
And
Well,
that's one of my reasons why it's like I just wish it was a different
system
game
entirely,
altogether.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
just because it's like they have that potential to have, early game where everyone's struggling, but you're still, fighting against other players. And
well,
right now you have no reason to go PvP like early
right,
game. You get no
yeah,
reward for it. All you're doing is risking losing everything.
right,
You get no extra XP for playing on the PvP server. Like, what is the incentive? I mean, honestly,
yeah.
I just don't see it.
Well, in regards to
But
the
yeah,
faction stuff,
that's
um, if they wanted to keep factions just in the way of like, "Oh, I'm, Lemang gang," like me and the homies, everybody chose Lemang,
right, right,
that's fine. Do it like Tarkov and make it a less impactful system because especially in PvP, there's just not a lot of value in having 10 other guys be in the area that you're in tasking and doing stuff. It's like you just miss out on a lot of opportunity. Okay, I guess shouldn't say there's no value. There's obviously value in it because if people show up and start fighting, you can call them in or whatever. Like everybody can kind of
right.
come down on each other. But
Ooh, that sounds fun.
it does, doesn't it? But yeah, like there's no it feels like it's missing out on so much more interaction that could happen and that could pop
Right.
up. I just think that the faction system as a whole, honestly, I don't see a reason to keep the faction. I was trying to like
Yeah, I
justify
don't.
how to keep the factions and why to make it work and like a
Well,
way, but like it's just outside of just like in name, there's no reason for it in my opinion.
yeah.
Because you
I
still
mean,
have
there.
like Tarkov, you have people that can be friendly if they want to be. You can choose to go in and fight everybody. You can choose to go in and try to make friends. That's entirely up to the player. And then if you go in with a group of friends, like that's your faction, like that's your crew. Uh, Outside of
Right.
that, it would be more like Daisy or Tarkov, where you're more reliant on yourself and you're more reliant on your survival instincts and just like making sure you're staying alive and not just like, oh well, I got
Yeah.
6 dudes here, I should be safe to walk in here and do whatever I want. Where uh,
Yeah, you kind of decide how you want to do it. It's up to you, and you know what I mean? And it just
with no
causes more randomness, more interaction,
yeah,
more
because you're hearing gunshots,
unpredictableness.
you're having all
Yeah.
these things happen, and you're not sure entirely where people are. Because currently, if I shoot somebody from a different faction in PvP, there is a marker that pops up and says, "Hey, action
Yeah.
in this area,"
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
sure if you want like these giant team fight impactful things like that, that's fine. I can understand that to a degree.
Well,
Maybe even
and I
set it
think a
up
lot
to
of
where
people do
like
want
people
that,
well, maybe
and I
even
just
set it
don't
up
know
to where
why.
people can band together and you can have like a 20-man lobby like group, right? Like you can start a little like, hey, this is us. Like, me and these 15 dudes over here where we decided that we were all sitting in the starting zone of Fala or of Lemang's area, right? You start there like you normally do. You can choose to have a big party if you want to and go in and do big team battles. But like the fact that
Well,
if
actually,
I want
what's
to play
funny is
solo, God,
real quick. I was just gonna. What's funny is you can only team up with four. Four is the maximum amount of members in a group, which is just funny for a
yeah,
game
for
that's
something that's
centered
meant to
around team.
be, yeah,
Yeah.
a big open
Yeah.
world team battle. I don't know. Factions just kind of kill it for me because one, I
Yeah.
feel
Same.
way too comfortable when I see there's a bunch of my dudes in the area. I'm just like, cool, nothing's stopping me here. I can literally run in, do all my tasks. Somebody's already cleared the airfield. Somebody's already killed all this shit. Boss is already like, I don't have to worry about anything. And then on
Yeah.
the rare chance that another enemy does show up, it's typically they're not coming in heavy. You know what I mean? They don't know that there's 20
Right.
of us sitting in here. So they'll just show up, get murdered, cause a little ping, and it seems I don't
Yeah,
know.
you'll hear the
Depending on
shots, but then by the time you get there, it's over.
depending on where you're at, you're not guaranteed to have people in your area that are wanting to come team fight, because a lot of people might
Right.
not be tasking in that zone. A lot of people might be way ahead, trying to clear the sapphire mines or whatever. Like there's so many different things with a world that's so large and so many different POIs and locations to fight. It's hard to be like, okay, I just got murdered in Fa Lang. Like I'm trying to do these tasks here. What do I do? Faction chat 9 times out of 10, you get a couple gooners like me, a couple weirdos saying weird shit, and then that's it. Like, so
Right.
to me, it already doesn't make a lot of sense to have forced factions. I think that it would be okay if they would had like, La Meng has a team fight going on today at the fair airfield at the fair at the airfield, and like enemy factions can sign up, and anybody, even if you're from La Meng, you could go sign up for the enemy faction if you wanted to. Like you could put it in your main starting area and be like, hey, faction war today, this location, blah blah blah, like big battle or something.
Right.
There's so many ways you could work around to still have these impactful, massive team fights for these areas while not forcing people into factions, because I guess it's kind of a weird gripe, you could say, in a way, because it's like, oh, factions are relatively useless in my eyes, and I don't like the idea of it. But at the same time, like you said, there are people that do want that stuff. There are people that do like that
Yeah.
thing, and there are reasons for it, like the cops, right? But with that, you could
Yeah.
also just say, well, any house could become a safe house, or just have plenty of locations to where somebody could, if they wanted to, not like maybe take the DayZ approach, and you can have like a little area set
You can
up
have a
somewhere that's
stash. Yeah.
not,
You can have
yeah,
like a
that's not
stash.
specifically
Like,
a cop, but like somewhere I can go to turn in tasks and put items and stuff like that. It can still be rated because it's just out in the world. Um,
right.
like I don't know. I just You and I
I
both,
just
I
feel
think,
like,
agree on this. There's very few games that
yeah.
I'm actually for team. I like to be solo in shooters like this specifically. Solo
Yeah.
is the way, or at least small
Yeah.
groups. I don't like being forced
Yeah.
into a
Or
big
not
team, and I know a
having,
lot of people
yeah,
don't feel
not,
that same way. So it's kind of like I feel like we're definitely the minority.
yeah,
Like a lot
I
of
do
times we say
too.
it, but I think we are absolutely in the minority on this one.
Well, we're in the minority somewhat. There are a lot of people who want this game to be like Squad, or want this game to just be where it's like Arma. And it's just, I just don't think, it's going to ever get to that point.
I don't think so. Maybe
And
later with modded servers or
yeah,
something.
yeah, it might. But this is what I was going to say. This is the cool thing. They are allowing custom servers.
Oh, done deal.
Like, I
Yeah,
already seen
we're
Noise
good.
Guy, he has a custom server, and he was asking, he's like, "Hey, what should we do, guys? What do we wanna make this?" So, if they give us custom servers and we can actually set it up to what we want, like everybody versus everybody, you're just a lone wolf,
Right.
you're out there,
Yeah.
you can team up with somebody if you want, you can bring a friend if you want,
Yeah.
but you don't have to, sit there and constantly check for teammates. You know that any gunfight you hear is a
It's
chance for
action.
fighting, a chance for
Yeah.
PvP. You just, yeah, it just,
You're not marked
I feel
for
like,
for shooting at somebody. That's the thing too. It's like they
yeah.
want these impactful fights, but then they're like, "Well, let's make it to where if somebody does shoot, everybody knows." And it's like I want to play as a sniper, chilling and just take out people as I see them, not really be like up in the shit, because that's just what I want to do in this game. It's like the ideal playground for a sniper, right? At least in my eyes.
Right.
So why
And
would
I
I
get
want to
that
be able to
that's
shoot somebody and
100%.
snipe somebody? And then it's like, well, now you're
Well,
gonna everybody knows.
that's 100% to promote the team aspect, you know what I
It
mean?
is.
Like,
It is.
everybody sees it, so everybody rushes over there, you got your team and then their team, but it's like you said, there's plenty of times where I
There's just
have all
nobody
these
there.
teammates, I never talk to them. I don't have anything, like, they're off doing their own thing, I'm off doing my own thing. I don't need them. Like, 99% of the time, there's no benefit to having that team there for me.
Right.
And it's like, I would just trade in the dots on the map that are my teammates that I'm never going to interact with. I would trade that in for a system that it's actually, those players are my enemies and it's actually impactful to what's going on for me.
Yeah, because then
And
I'm
I
actually
actually have to watch
paying
out for them.
attention. Right.
Yeah. It just, I mean, I guess it's just one of those things where it's two different games. Like,
Yeah, it
there's
is.
there's
It
a,
is.
a team-based game that it's supposed to be and that everyone quote unquote everyone wants it to
Right,
be, and then
right.
there's the hardcore survival
Open
shooter that we
world,
kind of
hardcore
want it to
survival
be.
shooter, yeah, the
Yeah,
Ghost Recon Breakpoint or Break whatever it was called. Ghost Recon, oh man, it was
I
the
think.
first one of the open world ones they did that was single player
Yeah,
with some PvP aspects to it, I guess, but, like, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, I think is what it was. Like, that meets Tarkov would be ideal for me, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
a shooter that's this massive open world with all these things happening around it, players doing anything and everything, and me just playing the way I wanna play without, crazy, interactions happening because I shot at somebody. But yeah, we Gray
Well, I'm
Zone,
I'm hoping the custom servers are going to address that. Hopefully, I hope
I
because
would
that would be
imagine so,
cool.
dude,
If
because the amount of people that
yeah,
do the DayZ, like, day 1 and 0 servers
yeah,
the way that we like to
yeah,
play, I guarantee you that's
yeah.
immediately gonna be done here.
If they
Um,
allow modding on top of it, that would be insane.
yeah,
Like this
it's a done
world
deal. This
with
game is gonna be
modding, that would
insane.
be yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I feel like that's the only way it's ever going to happen is give people the opportunity to try it and see it, and then I feel like it would just take off.
I think
People
so,
may
yeah.
not like want it right now, but I feel like if they seen it and played it and just
Got
got a
to feel
taste
it,
of
yeah.
what it could be, yeah, I feel like. I mean, that
Because
might be a little ignorant on my end, saying, "Oh, everybody would want what I want," but
well, no, but I mean, like,
those
if you think
games that
about
do
it,
that are so popular.
yeah, if you think about it like DayZ, they allow a massive open world, individual play, but you can also get a clan together, get a whole group of dudes that
Yeah,
fucking run a
yeah.
server, and you guys
You can
can,
build a base,
yeah, like, you can do
start
so
your
much
own gang,
stuff,
yeah.
and yeah, and just you could take an approach like that very easily, in a game like Gray Zone, and I think it would also be a hit. But yeah, we could talk
Yeah.
Gray Zone a lot. We're both enjoying it. Our editor's even playing it with
Yeah.
us. We're all having a great time with it. We're 100% gonna make some content around it because it is just such a good game. And I feel like Tarkov and Gray Zone are both pretty well interlocked with a lot of the gameplay mechanics and core ideas and stuff about them. So I feel like you can kind of mesh those two together. Here on this
Yeah,
channel, it's been
and
all Tarkov content because I don't feel comfortable putting opposite stuff on here. Maybe some DayZ here from time to time, but like overall, it's Tarkov because of the way Tarkov plays. But I feel like if Gray Zone can do what we want, I could absolutely see us putting content for Gray Zone on the channel.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, and I mean, they're close enough, especially like DayZ, Gray Zone, open world shooters, surviving. Like it's a little different, but they're close enough to where I feel like I know a lot of the same audience watches other people
right.
play those
Yeah.
games, and I know like the player base. It's kind of like it
It's all about
everybody
this.
that plays
Yeah.
that also plays that, so it's like it could coexist pretty easily together. But yeah, the last word on the Gray Zone update. I know we've been talking about we wish this and that and we want this and that, but what we do have right now is 1,000 times better than what we had before, and it
100%.
was a
Yeah.
great update. Um, I
Winter
just
War
hope that
changes were absolutely huge.
yeah, I just hope for more, but what we have now,
I'm
that
happy with
was
this. I will
it made the game
gladly
so
play
much
this.
better. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, same, same. I'll play it right now, and
Fast pacing. We got all of our first starting tasks done pretty well day 1. We moved on past
yeah.
that into day 2, and like, since, it's just progression is so much better, gameplay loop feels better, performance feels better, everything is just a little bit better,
Yeah,
and some things are substantially better. So, yeah, Gray Zone's
yeah,
in a great place. If you haven't checked it out yet, definitely go put some time into it. It's a fun game. Being able to not have to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth made the game just completely playable now. Uh,
well, and
5
I
thumbs
played the
up
game
from the
300
EarLegAthlete.
hours. Yeah, I played the game 500 or 300 hours is about what I had in it before this update. So, that was going through the old school way. I have to, travel by helicopter everywhere and taking forever. So
Right.
I'll definitely put some time in it the way it is now
Yeah,
because
it's
it's
so
just
much
so
more
much
playable now.
easier.
Yeah.
A lot of new points of interest. It's a good update. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I can't really think of anything bad that they did. There are changes that we want to see, but it mostly
Yeah.
revolves around the whole game, the actual game systems. It's more about not the stuff that's in
Not
the
the
game.
mechanics in the
It's how
loop.
you
It's
play the
it's how
game.
we play the
Yeah,
game.
yeah, it's how you
Exactly,
play
yeah.
it. Yeah, and it's mostly the PvP side because PvE is kind of okay. You want to go fight some enemy
AI, go kill
AIs
some
and take
bosses,
over a
do all that
base.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can.
Done and
But the
done.
PvP side is what I feel I just wish it had some more.
Yeah.
But it
And
might get there. It
I
might
think
get
it'll
there.
get there. I think we've got a studio that, genuinely puts the time and effort in. I think we've got something pretty decent here too. But yeah, Gray Zone's awesome. Check it out, play it.
Yeah.
Good time.
Yeah.
So let's switch back over to Tarkov though. and we'll go over some of the things that we've seen on like tarkov.community or just Reddit or just heard around the community and things like that. Really, there's only
You
two that
can
I kind of want to touch on, but
Well, I was gonna say you can tell we were getting close to end of the wipe because it's just there's not a lot going on. I think Nikita's kind of being hush hush more now than ever
yeah, with
because
1.0
most of
being
the
the next big
things,
update, yeah.
yeah, most of the things that he's got, he probably can't really talk about. So unfortunately, we just don't have a lot. But there are with the new Tarkov community and thing that keeps things
Yeah,
always
there's always
changing.
something to
So there
talk
are
about,
some
yeah.
things. Yeah, there are some things from there.
Yeah, there's only a
Which
couple things that I really wanna touch on. And one, I'm not even sure if this I think this was a Tarkov community post, but, I know it was also just talked about by, Doctor Disrespect and some other streamers and stuff, like, I've heard people mention this a few times. Uh, Adding random patrols or changing enemy types in certain spots from time to time. I think that would be very dynamic for the game. You would get,
yeah,
say, I think the one that we were talking about off stream was, on Shoreline at power plant or whatever it is, water treatment, whatever the fuck that little building is underneath
yeah, I
behind
think
or in front of resort, uh,
yeah,
where there's two sniper scavs sit, or even over at Sniper Rock on the outside of resort. Instead of it always being two relatively brain dead sniper scavs, you could put rogues, raiders, fucking whatever other enemy type up there you wanted, and it would add because how often do we go to resort or leave resort or just walk through the area and you come up on the two sniper scavs, you stop, shoot, find the other one, shoot, and then just keep on walking, right? You don't there's no real
yeah.
reason to go down in there. You don't mess with any of the loose enemies that are or little loose. You don't mess with any of the enemies that are just loosely running around that area. You just take out the two
Right.
sniper scavs because they're the only thing that's going to cause you any kind of problem. And it's not even
Yeah,
really a
there's no
problem. It's just
thought.
noise.
No.
And you just move
No
on.
thought behind it.
Yeah.
Yep, it's just normal routine. You've done it so many times. There's no challenge to it. There's no real engagement. It's just, oh, I got to shoot these guys before I can progress.
Now, if every couple raids you have rogues, raiders, or potentially even like cultists that snipe like they do over at Lighthouse, all of a sudden you're being way more cautious, paying way more attention. You're definitely taking the time to look ahead and try to see what's going on. You're not being so obvious and open. Maybe the cultists might be a little too far because they are pretty rough,
Yeah, it might be a little. Yeah, it might be a
especially if
little
they're
too far.
shooting on
Yeah.
site. But like
Yeah, yeah.
change
I
it.
think cultists are too far.
Yeah, change it to rogues, raiders, and whatever else you wanna do, and
Yeah,
then
just like
it forces
dynamic
you
enemy.
yeah, it forces you to not be so brain dead about it yourself. You kinda wanna approach it a little bit differently, which I think is a great idea. I also like the
Well,
idea of just adding a random rogue or raider patrol on certain maps, especially those that are like woods, shoreline, uh, what's the other big map?
streets.
We yeah, we run it all the time. Yeah, streets. Jesus. Some random patrols on streets, like, instead of having scavs all the time, throw in, like, some hell, even do AI PMCs, right? Like, you could just call them rogues or
Yeah,
raiders, that's fine,
anything.
whatever,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
something in there so it's not just always, "Oh, there's a scav shooting at me with a shotgun from a mile away," with buckshot 'cause whatever reason, or they're shooting PP-19 at you, like, we all have it happen, you're getting shot from somewhere, it's not really doing anything, it's a ways off, but you're like, "Oh shit, there's somebody there," like, but if those were rogues and raiders, that fight instantly becomes something entirely different even at a massive distance. And then if
Yeah,
you close the
switch up
gap
the
on that,
norm a little bit.
it's gonna be pretty intense in a lot of those scenarios. Turn the corner, there's a
I
3
could.
man of rogues, raiders, whatever, like,
Yeah,
that's rough, that's rough.
I could see, uh, them doing that too, like, with 1.0, I could see that happening where, like, they already have it set to where we've been playing these same, maps for so long, we know where every enemy's at. I could see them just switching it up and making it, like, dynamic, like, sometimes you
You
go here,
never know
there's
what's
gonna
actually
be
gonna
some
be there.
raiders there, yeah,
Yeah, that
sometimes you
would be
go
cool as
here and
hell.
there might be some rogues, sometimes you go here, there might be a cultist, maybe one that just spawned somewhere, and it's like, that would be
Well, especially in nighttime
surprising
raids, right? Like,
and
run into a pack
yeah,
of
yeah,
cultists
yeah.
just moving from spot to spot,
Yeah, it
that'd
would
be
have to be
interesting.
nighttime for cultists. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it
but
would be
it
interesting,
just
though.
yeah, it would bring the element of surprise back for these maps that we know so well and we never get surprised. It would bring that surprise back, and I feel like that could liven up the maps, and it's not hard to do. Like, it's something they could do that's easily done, and it doesn't, it doesn't require a ton of like reworking or
Right.
redoing a whole
It's not gonna
system.
eat
It's
up a
just
bunch of
something
processing
small.
power, right.
Yeah, it's something small that they could do relatively easy. I imagine. I would imagine it'd
Yeah,
be
I
easy.
wouldn't yeah, just change
And
enemy type A, enemy type
but
diff X,
it would
right?
change the feeling of the map so much. Just having different enemies in different positions, having to approach places differently. Like I just feel like
Just
that would liven up things again pretty
think about
easily.
how often we're sitting in a building and some scavs come through, we just ignore them outright. Or, like you're on the other end of a wall and some scavs walk through. Like there's too many scenarios where scavs being the easiest enemy, not saying every single time we run into something we want it to be a harder enemy type, just the chance that it
No, no,
could
no,
be,
no.
and every so often it is a different enemy type.
Yeah.
But there's too often where you can be relatively obvious with your positioning and not really have to worry because there's scavs in the area. One, they're gonna shoot and tell you if somebody's coming up on you or not, or two, they by the time they see you, you could have already taken them out a lot of the times. Like it becomes a little too easy, especially on the larger maps where you're just kind of camping around a zone, you're fighting players here and there. If you add in some dynamic enemy types, it really does, like you said, it livens up the map a lot. It really adds for some interesting situations to pop off. Because if you're in a PvP fight with somebody and instead of scavs coming around the corner while you're trying to heal, it's rogues or raiders on chance, or AI PMCs or however they roll it. It just kind of forces you into a much faster scenario. Like, oh shit, I have to react. I have to react. I have to move. It also keeps you thinking more consistently and more constantly. I think it would be a good change. I genuinely
Yeah.
really like this idea.
Absolutely.
Uh,
And it just gets rid of the repetitiveness. Like I said, we know all these maps and we know all the
True.
enemy spawns so well, and we've done it for so long. But two things. I understand there are going to be newer players who will be against that because they're still learning the places. Everything is still new to them, so they don't know all the spawns. They don't know, but over
They will
time, you
very
would learn
soon.
that,
Yeah.
and you would be in the same position as us new people because we wouldn't know if they're dynamic. We won't know them either. So it's like you get to learn right along with us if it's a
Right.
change.
In a game like
So yeah,
Tarkov, like
might
people,
not be
I'm
the best
sure
change.
they would complain like, "Oh, it adds a difficulty spike." Well, yeah, but it's Tarkov. The whole thing is a massive uphill spike. Even when it goes downhill,
Right.
you're still going right back uphill. Like it's a like so if scavs
Yeah.
are the easiest thing you can fight and on occasion they get swapped out for something else, I don't think it affects anything too majorly. And it's not like every single scav. It would just be that one spawn of scavs is now a pack of rogues. It's like it would be a
Well, and that's
relatively
the
rare thing. They could even just change spawn locations and pathing and stuff like that, which might be a little more difficult, but I mean it's doable. They could freshen it up and keep scavs, I suppose. But I think it would be an interesting thing to do.
Well, that's the second thing. The second thing I was gonna say, that would be it's not gonna be constant. It's gonna be like a chance. It's not something that every map is 100% different now. Just certain spawn areas have the ability to switch it up and have a different person in a different location or a different enemy type in a different location. Just it makes things not the same old same. And
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be all day, every map. Just different locations,
From
make it
time to time
random,
you run
make
into
it
some shit. Yeah.
right, that way it's not overwhelming, it's not like, "Oh, you can't walk across the map now without fighting
Right.
raiders and rogues," and you know what I mean? Like,
Right,
make it
right,
where
right.
it's not too much, because I know that's a lot of people will be like, "No, that's dumb, then you won't be able to do anything." But yeah,
Yeah,
make
but
it where it's not too
yeah,
much.
if it's just a chance, it makes you
Yeah,
think every interaction could be that bad situation, or every interaction
right.
could be a rogue or raider. And then 90% of the time, it's probably not going to be. But like we were referencing earlier, you're walking through Shoreline, you go past the water treatment or the power plant, whatever the hell that little building is, and instead of sniper scavs, it's two raiders or a pack of raiders or whatever. And then after that first interaction with them, now every time you go through there, you're not just mindlessly walking through, pulling up your scope and taking a quick look and continuing on. You're genuinely like, you're worrying about cover, like you're making sure you've got positioning, you're making sure there's nobody around you because this fight might take a second. Like, it just adds a lot of dynamic, interesting
Yeah.
gameplay opportunities for it.
It
Granted,
refreshes
it's
the routine for each map. Like, it just changes it enough to where it's not the same old same every
puts us
time.
back on our toes, which is awesome.
Yeah.
That's all we want is
And
to
that's
just
all I'm
be
asking for. Don't
surprised
want it
for
to be
by things.
overly hard. Don't want it to be unplayable. Don't want it to be, new players can't move. I don't want it to be any of that. I just want it to be a chance, just something to liven it up
Yeah.
again, make it more interesting. And I feel like BSG does a good job when they do things like that. They
For
do
sure.
it in a amount that usually is fair. So I would have faith in them being able to do it the right way.
Absolutely, I think so. I think they can manage that very well.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was a good change. I mean, that's
Yeah,
something that I would
yeah.
really love to see. I feel like and I feel like they
It's a
might do it. Like
great
it
idea,
might
yeah,
already be in the plans. It might be part of
potentially.
1.0.
It's just high possibility that it could be. I could see him
Yeah,
doing it
yeah.
too, like,
Yeah,
especially with a
absolutely.
low chance, it's just I really like that idea. The next thing that I have for tarkov.community stuff, I'm sure we could scroll and find plenty of stuff. The other thing I want to talk about is, out of bounds snipers are going to start. This has already been planned or started, I can't remember which. Out of bounds
It was
snipers
started 2
will
months ago,
so probably a
but I haven't seen
1.0
it
thing.
as fixed. Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't seen it as fixed, but they said 2 months ago they were fixing it or starting on it.
Yeah, out of bounds snipers will go for warning shots before trying to kill you instantly, and they'll take a little bit of a pause between, like, when they shoot at you for your warning shot, you'll get a second to react, like, not much time, but you'll get a moment to react, and they'll shoot again. Whether it's 1 or 2 warning shots, I don't know, but you get a heads up, you get a moment, and essentially you have time to run out now. "Hey, sniper scouts are shooting at you, time to get the fuck out," instead of just, "Ping, there goes my leg. Ping, there goes my chest. Ping, I'm dead,"
Right.
which is,
And see, this is more new player friendly. This is something that really doesn't affect us. We know where all the out
right.
of bounds areas are. We don't do it much, but there are times you accidentally just step into the zone, the invisible zone, and it's like you're
Oh,
dead.
shit,
And
yeah.
I feel like, yeah, there
It
should
does feel
be
a
at
little
least a
cheap.
chance for you to get out. Yeah, because you can't see them, you can't shoot back, you can't respawn. Like it would just be nice if okay, they're an actual warning. They're not an
I
actual
fucked
death.
up, I'm out, yeah, and if you
Yeah.
choose to stay there, you're probably dead,
Yeah, yeah, you're
but it
dead.
gives
Yeah,
you a
you're dead. If you
moment
don't
to run
run for
away.
cover, yeah,
Yeah.
you have to run for cover. You can't just stand there and expect them to stop shooting because you crossed the invisible line. You have to run for cover,
Yeah, you still
but
have to
it
get out of
shouldn't be
there.
instant headshots, because
Right.
they will one tap you like 50% of the time.
Oh, yeah,
So,
absolutely.
but like I said, this is not that controversial, but I understand some people would not like the change because I already seen one guy. He said that's totally against Tarkov. He's like, if you were a sniper and your job was to patrol this area, you're on a roof. You're not going
Keep
to
him
let
out
the
of
guy
this
get
zone,
away.
don't
You're
let him
gonna
through.
you're gonna
Right.
try your best to kill him, whether he runs back out of the zone or not. You're gonna just kill him as long as you got eyes on him. Yes, I get that, but they shouldn't be like aimbots.
Instant.
Like,
Yeah.
make them miss some of their shots. Like, I know they do if you run away, sometimes you get lucky, but most of the time, you're not gonna make it out of there, like, most of the time, especially if you're a newer player and you don't know how to react. You don't even know what zone you just crossed. Like, you don't even know where the safe spot is now. You just know you're getting shot at.
Yeah,
Now
there are indicators in certain locations,
yeah,
like,
there'll be a
"Hey, sniper scouts
sign,
here," but sometimes you can walk into the zone from an angle from the left, the right,
yeah,
and not really realize you
there's
crossed into that zone. I can see it happening.
definitely, areas that for some reason they don't seem like they should aggro it, and they do, and then there's other areas that seem like they should aggro it, and they don't. And then BSG being, being
The
the way they
ultimate
are, they
trolls they
put dead
are.
bodies. They
Yeah.
dead bodies so you can go up and loot, and that lures you into that area. And like I
Yeah.
said, for existing older players like us, it is fine. We know better. But for newer players, it would just be something that's a little less frustrating for them and something that they could learn from if they're not just dying every time. Give them a
Right,
chance
right.
to counteract it.
Start
You know what I
realizing where
mean?
that line is and
Well,
what actually
I've
procs it,
seen
and
so many people that don't play Tarkov accidentally wander into those places and then they just die and they have no idea what happened. They just think a player killed them. Like
right.
they don't know. So it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they'll just wander right back into that same spot again and they still don't know what's going on. It's almost as if, that it's you can't learn from it if you don't know
If
what
you
you're
die
doing wrong.
instantly
So
and there's no indication.
yeah, show them that, this is an area that you're going to get shot at. Not going to die instantly, but you are going to get shot at. I feel like
Well,
there's a better
even
way
a
to
singular
show
warning
it.
shot and then a second, and then they go for the kill, I'm fine with that, but something to give
Yeah,
us a
yeah,
moment to react. Because
yeah.
even as an experienced player, there's times where I'm in a PvP fight and I'm pushing around, taking weird angles, trying to flank this, that, or the other, and I walk into the zone and then I'm shot. And like, even if they don't kill me instantly and they just take my leg out or my chest out or something, that's still, now I have to try to deal with the player in front of me or beside me or whatever. They know where I'm at because I just got shot by sniper scav and I'm fucked up. Like, I gotta heal. So it's like it really puts you on the backside. And while, yeah, you can just pop a PK and move, like you can do your thing. A lot of times it's still just enough of an interaction to really cause problems for you. Especially the way I like to play. I'm a slow player. I want to be methodical about it. I want to try to keep you at range and preferably you not know where I'm at until I've shot you. So when it does happen, and on the occasion that it is accidental, like sure they're still going to get the ping to know where I'm at, but now I'm able to move and retrack wherever I want to go, or backtrack to wherever I want to go, or however I want to approach it, and not necessarily have to worry instantly like, oh shit, I'm dying. I got guys pushing me now, and I can't go this way because sniper scabs, right? Like so it does happen on occasion. It's not something like, "Oh, all the time, I'm always in there." I can only think of, like, one fight that I've actually
Right.
had that scenario happen, but it does, it can happen. And it's just
Well,
one of those things, it's like, it doesn't hurt anything to have the sniper scabs that are outside of the map that you can't do anything about, take a singular crack shot at you and be like, "Hey, get the fuck on." Like, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think that, like,
majority of
ruins the
maps
mechanic of anything.
Yeah, majority of maps, you're not even gonna have that issue. The only map I can think of that really I would appreciate the change would be Woods,
Yeah, it's
because
just
Woods
wood on
has
the backside.
so many invisible boundaries and out of
Yeah,
bounds lines. There's
yeah.
a big section on Woods,
Sorry,
that
you
you
cut out
cannot
what?
go into. A big section on Woods that you cannot go into,
Oh, big section.
and
Yeah,
it
yeah.
just, yeah, it would be a map that I feel like would benefit from that because most maps, it's clearly marked, like, there's only a few spots.
Right.
Woods has a huge area that this can
Yeah.
happen, so
Well, and there are markers around those areas, but not all the way through those areas. So
yeah,
it's
not all the way.
easy to not realize that you walked into the zone, especially as a new player.
Yeah,
Like you said,
yeah.
experience, people like us, like obviously we know that's there. And the only time I've done it was because I was kind of forced into it in a fight, not really paying attention. But yeah, like as a new player, dude, I've been killed by sniper scavs multiple times. And sometimes while I see the sniper emblem and the dead body on like the board or whatever, I'm like, what? It doesn't really click right away with everything else going on in Tarkov. So there was a time where I would just run through thinking like maybe that's the extract, like maybe they're saying this is like a safe way out, you're covered. You're like, we'll cover for
Right.
you. Like as a new player with Tarkov, anything and everything
You
can
don't
be,
know.
yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
just
don't
don't
know.
know. You just don't know. So like I can see so many interactions where like it could happen. You just run in, you're dead, and you're like, oh shit, somebody got me. Like you said, like you think it's a player.
Well,
I
especially
don't think it's
with
a bad change. I think it's reasonable.
new maps or expansions, like, that's when it'll get you before, like,
True.
because everybody's,
Figuring it out,
starting
trying to
from the same
learn.
area.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, no one knows what's what, so it's like everybody's, at the very beginning, as far as knowledge for the map goes, and it would be nice just to have some kind of, warning,
Just a heads
not
up.
just a
Yeah.
instant headshot. And
Yeah.
and like I said, I know sometimes I have gotten away from them. There are times I've gotten shot at and I've gotten away from them, and, like, it is possible, but it's hard, it's rare.
It is
Normally,
hard.
when you go in, even when you run out, they're still shooting at you, even when you're out of
Yeah,
the
you have
area,
to
like,
get a good distance and some cover.
yeah,
Well, even then
but
there's
it's not a
there's
huge
Lighthouse,
not
right?
a
You have a task or 2 that tells you to go up there, but as soon I mean, you have to pop, like, 5 different PK or 5 different stems, and
oh,
you have
the
to run up to the
uh,
truck and grab the thing, and it's, like, instantly, you're getting shot at, and no matter what, you're
I
getting hit. It's so rough.
think they changed that.
I
I
think they
think they
did,
changed it.
but it was a
Yeah, 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 I
scenario
think they
where
changed it.
that
Yeah,
kinda
it
thing
used
was
to be awful.
happening. Yeah, dude, it
Yeah.
was one of the worst, like, I dreaded that task just because it was, like,
You couldn't do it without popping a Zagustin for your bleeds, popping, Propofol for your
Propital.
healing and your painkiller, and, even, like, I think there was, like, 5 or 6
Yeah, there was
stems that you would
5
have to pop.
At least 5 stems you would have to pop to get everything rolling just to where
Yeah.
you could get in and not die and be able to get back to heal. And even then,
Yeah, it's when
you
you had to,
you would
like, mark
die.
that van,
Yeah,
right by the, lighthouse bridge, yeah.
absolutely brutal task.
Yeah.
But, just little things like that, I think that would be if which they did fix, I'm like 90% sure on. Um, Even if they hadn't, if you got a warning shot at you and just a moment of time just to be like, "Okay, okay, I'm leaving," they're still gonna start shooting to kill you, but you get that second to react, which is
Well,
sometimes all you
what
need.
they did, they got rid of the, boundary snipers there, and now it's just the cultists and Zerachi
Yeah,
that guard it, and usually now you can even run all the way up to the bridge, you're just gonna die from the explosions,
mines,
from
yeah.
the mines, so they got rid of the out of bounds snipers there, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. What do you think about, like, a one-by-one surgery kit, like a single-use surgery kit that's a 1 slot? Do you think
I
that's
mean, I
something they should
wouldn't be
add, or
against
do
it.
you think a
I wouldn't be
CMS is still
against it, but
plenty usable?
I just yeah, I've never found myself needing a reason to have a one by one, like,
Yeah, I guess if you have a small secure container, it would be nice, but even then, it's just I don't know.
I feel like they're easy enough to find, you go in and run your
Right.
scav, they're pretty easy to find. Like
They
I
are.
find surgery kits all the time. So, but I mean, for convenience, yeah, it would be cool. It'd be nice to have a
Put them in
way
your
to not
pocket.
put a 3 slot or a 2 slot in your secure
Yeah.
container.
Well, even being
Um,
able to throw them in your pocket so that you can keybind a surgery kit would be kinda
or
fun,
here's a
you
better
know?
thing: take an approach from Gray Zone. Add
Add the
the
cases
little
that hold
pouches.
meds.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the little pouches, just a
yeah.
little AFAC pouch or an IFAC pouch, lets you fill it with what you want instead of
Right.
it coming, already filled as a heal. Let you put a surgery kit in there if you want,
If it's a
and make it
1-slot
take up.
case,
Yeah,
it holds 2 slots. If it's a 2-slot case, it maybe holds 3 or 4, like, you could do
yeah,
it to
yeah,
where it's
yeah,
not super breaking the mold of Tarkov, but still have
yeah,
access to everything you need without losing it. Because early wipe, sometimes finding a surgery kit makes or breaks your raid,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
sometimes you can't find them, like, it can be a little rough or you find it on your scav and you die, like, there's things that happen, and sometimes, like, there's been I've gotten to, like, a couple levels in the game and not had a surgery kit and just, like, popping PKs to survive when I get lit up. It doesn't happen
I
often, but, like, I
I was gonna
have done
say
it before.
I've
Um
done well to force myself to always throw my surgery kit in my secure container. And I'll put that in my secure container before I will, like, a key or something that I know I'll need, just because I know I'll die without it, you know what I mean? So
Right,
I
yeah,
always
yeah.
make sure I save those. But yeah, it can be, what
It
happens
can be
if,
tedious, yeah.
you use 2 that you had and you don't find anymore and you just don't have any. Like then yeah, that could be an issue.
Then you do find it, you're on your scav, but you die. Like, there's so many things that could go
Exactly,
wrong,
yeah.
could happen. And hey, maybe you do have one, you go in a raid, you use it 3 times, you go in the next raid, you use it twice, and you're like, "Oh shit, I don't have one." And then you get shot. Like, there's situations that happen. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a one by one, maybe I could kinda see it, but at the same time, like you said, I think the med system is
I
fine. I think what we have in game is fine. And personally, I can't really see a reason. The cases would be cool. I'll give you that. They would be cool, but
I
then
was
they're
gonna say,
just
yeah,
expanding on you're just making a larger storage case. Like, granted,
but
you can
that's
just
the
throw them
one
in your
thing.
pocket, but like, is it a
Well,
bad thing to have that? I don't think so.
Gray Zone is, as far as compared to Tarkov, you're limited on storage. Gray Zone storage is not as friend or as generous as
Fast,
Tarkov
yeah.
is. Your backpacks don't hold as much, your rigs don't hold as much, your secure container, unless you have, like the Ultra Edition, then you have like a big one. But
Right.
it's
Even
like
then, it's
the way they counter that is they give you little items that allow you to store more in those single slots. So I wouldn't be against Tarkov doing that. Make it minimal. It's not like a ton of stuff, but 2 or
right.
3 things, a couple medical containers, a
You can carry
couple,
a med case on
you
you.
you
That's
already get key containers, you already get
right.
injector cases. So they
You know
already
what? That's
do it with
true.
other
The
things.
injector case is pretty gross and
Yeah.
broken. So it's
Yeah.
like, not broken in a bad way, but it's like it's very
Right.
overpowered. It's so good. You can carry way more stims than you need.
Yeah, so just
Which
do something like
yeah,
that with
I don't see
all
you're
medical
absolutely
items.
right. I'm kind of for the case at that point then, because it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
if I can, why not be able to throw a 2-slot or 1-slot med case in there with everything else, and I can throw my serve
Right.
kit or my CMS kit, or I can put, 2 AFACs or whatever it is that I want to take in it. Yeah, I think that would actually do well. At
I'm
first I
okay
was
with
like,
stuff
"Well,
like that.
we're kind of supposed to be on limited space, this and that," but like you just said, we have key cases, we have the docs case, we have the sick case, we have injector cases, all that stuff goes in there to make your secure container more expansive. So yeah, I absolutely add med cases. It I don't think it's a
Well,
bad thing.
and I've been playing DayZ and Gray Zone, things that really aren't near as generous with stash space as Tarkov is. So it's led me to realize that Tarkov is pretty generous with stash. So it's
Yeah.
like you really aren't struggling from where to put things in Tarkov as much as you are in other games. So I feel like Tarkov's fine with letting people carry what they want. It's not really
Yeah, it doesn't
what
hurt
makes
anything.
Tarkov Tarkov.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're right. You're right.
I'm always
Okay.
right.
So the next thing I have is Shturman is the weekly boss spawn. So
Yep.
he's 100%. Go get your 20 kills if you
Uh,
haven't yet. Whatever you need to do, get your
what
15 for the achievement.
day are they doing the change? I'm
I will be completely
curious.
honest. I would have to track that for next week. We could actually. Okay,
I
that
was gonna say
was
I'm looking at it
lazy on
right now.
me.
I'm looking at it
May
right now.
24th, which would have been yesterday, which would be a Sunday or Saturday.
Yeah, so Saturday seems to be when they're switching them. Okay.
You
I
scroll
was just
down and
curious because
check.
I know it
May
keeps
17th,
yeah, so that's right. Yeah.
also a Saturday. Yeah, they're changing
Yeah,
every
yeah. So it's every
Saturday.
Saturday. Okay. That I was
Um,
just curious because I wasn't sure what day it switched.
Yeah. So yeah, we have Shturman full 100% boss spawn for the week. Now till next Saturday. So get in, get your kills on him. He's one of the easier fights in my opinion. Granted, if you run up on him, not paying attention, you just push right to where he's at. It can be a troublesome fight, but you're on woods. Run a scope, be ready for it, and you can pick him off pretty easily. He doesn't wear any armor. His guards can be crack shots sometimes, but honestly, one of the easier fights. I put Sturm pretty low on the list when it comes to difficulty. So if you don't have your achievement on him yet, you don't have your task complete for the AXMC and the other 308 rifle and all that, just get in and grind it out and get it done. Pretty easy one. I don't have much to say on Sturman. He's just straightforward. He's out in the open at Sawmill, not
Um,
really a problem.
and it seems like they're doing the switch at early in the morning. One was at 2 or one was at 3 a.m. This one was at 5 a.m. So it looks like Saturday morning is when the switch happens, Eastern time, like
Yeah.
real early Saturday morning.
Okay.
So you want to get him before Friday night.
Yeah. Yep. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Other than that, we can move on to the next thing. There's not a lot to say about Sturman. There's just
No.
not. After
No.
that, we have the new ASMR video coming together, I assume. Anytime I've seen these, it's always been related to the ASMR, but we have the SKS video. I think they're pretty cool. I love the ASMR videos they put out. If I want to hear an ASMR, I would probably choose to hear a gun being put together over some of the other options. So, in my
Yeah.
opinion, these are cool as shit. I love them. I watch them more than I probably should, but I think they're pretty fun. I think they're interesting, and it's a nice little look at the inner workings sometimes of how the guns go together. Like putting stuff together.
Yeah.
Like it's nice to
Yeah.
learn these things. If you don't know, now you know. So we got
Yeah.
a couple pictures from that. We've got the SKS with a Picatinny rail set up with an LPVO, and then they show on the SKS actually where that is. Oh, rear sight. I'm an idiot. I was okay. Yeah, I don't know why that took me so long. I was like hung up on the fucking lever there, but that's your rear sight. Not, I don't speak Russian. I couldn't tell you what that says. It's probably the manufacturer info on the SKS. And then the next picture is not sure what they're trying to show, except for the charging handle flipping up. Maybe I'm not. It is also just really clean pictures. I don't think they're specifically like, look at this, look at this. These are also just really clean pictures.
Right.
And they're just things Nikita uploaded before they do the ASMR video. So there's not like any leaks here or anything. It's just some cool pictures. In the leak is that the ASMR video for the SKS is coming up. There's your big leak. I would love to see these gloves be purchasable though. I do want to say that. It has absolutely nothing to do with the gun build. They wear them in all their videos. I fucking love them. They look like just mechanics gloves, like the shooter mechanics gloves with the Escape from Tarkov logo on it. I think those are cool as fuck. I really want them. Nikita, hit me up. Actually, is this the SKS? Hold up. This is not the SKS. The last look at the gun here.
I don't even know what you're looking at. I cannot
Oh,
find
screen share.
anything.
Sorry, I apologize. Middle sent me this because when Twitter was down earlier, I couldn't see anything. So Middle was like, "Your Twitter's down, not mine. Here's this stuff." I was like, "Oh, cool, thanks, man."
Yeah, that's an
So
SKS. Yeah, that's
well,
SKS.
yeah. This is SKS, right? SKS. This is still SKS. This is still SKS. No, this is
No,
not
no,
SKS.
that
This is
is
where it switches.
RPK. That's
RPK.
That's RPK.
And then
Yeah.
we go to here. You see the wood furniture, and yeah, this is the RPK. So are we getting an RPK and an SKS ASMR video?
Yeah.
Or do you
Yeah,
think
they already
that?
no, they had already showed both of these in our Nikileaks. We had already seen all these. Like not these exact pictures, but they showed them in the
Right, they
last
show.
few.
Yeah,
In the last
that's
one.
right. The
Yeah.
RPK was in it. Yeah, but yeah, these
Yeah.
gloves right here, the EFT gloves. I fucking love
Oh,
them.
the Tarkov. Yeah,
Yeah,
those are nice.
I love them. I just think they look cool. But yeah, RPK, SKS, they're coming up. Pretty cool stuff. Um,
I was
ASMR
trying to
videos are
find
always
everything. My
fun. They put them on
Twitter
YouTube.
is
Yeah, it's
broken
all
again.
fucked up. Yeah, it's a mess.
Now I can't scroll on Twitter anything. I'm stuck on the page. I've been trying to reload and I can't do anything.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know what's going
Yeah, Twitter is here's your news for the week. This is our best news. Twitter is broken.
on.
Let me just show you. I clicked on Battlestate Games. This is my Twitter feed. I can't scroll.
Yeah.
There's nothing there. I get like I have the April 18th pin post follow these people, and then just black, right? So it's like
And
Twitter's a little messed up right now. So if there is some news and we've missed it, we apologize. We're working between me, Adam, and Middle to make it like bring it all together,
yeah,
and we've missed probably
well, I was
more
gonna say,
than there is that we
and
talked about. But yeah, we'll just
I know a lot of people will be like, "No, Twitter's working fine." It is working fine at times for some people, yes. It's not constant. It's just for some people it loads, for other people it doesn't, and it's random. You can refresh the page. Sometimes it loads, sometimes it doesn't. So it's been rough to actually follow anything on there.
here you guys go. This is the background of backgrounds. If you didn't know, this
Beautiful.
is yeah.
That's his family picture from 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's
Wasn't that when you got that?
yeah, this is me in the middle. That's my wife here and my sister's husband there.
Oh, Barry.
Yeah, Barry. Barry the
Nice.
Bond. Yeah, I don't he has really cool nicknames. But yeah,
Beautiful
I
guy.
think that's everything that I have for the week. I like I said, if we've missed something, let us know because as of right now, we probably don't know about it. So
Right.
yeah, Twitter's a little bit fucked up. I think we've covered what we know is
Um,
available to us.
I got one other thing to say, and that goes back to the ASMR gun builds. It's nice to watch those and actually learn what gun parts are what, because a lot of people, when they get into Tarkov, they don't understand what certain parts are for or
That's a
what certain
good
attachments
point.
go for. Yeah, that's another way to realize that Tarkov's not just putting a bunch of stuff in there just to be difficult. It's real life
Yeah, this
gun
is how
builds. Like,
these guns are built and how the
yeah,
parts fit and how everything goes. If a certain part for the AR won't go on the 8R, there's probably a reason for it mechanically. It's
yeah,
not just, "Oh,
yeah.
we didn't want it to." No, it's if it's interchangeable, it's
But
interchangeable. If it's not, it's mechanically not. So there's reasons for
I
everything in Tarkov.
I've seen so many non-Tarkov players play Tarkov and they get tripped up and
So tripped
confused
up
with
on
all
it,
that.
yeah.
And they just think, "Oh, they're just doing this to make it difficult. Oh, why do they make it like it's all based on real life parts." But watching some of these gun builds, you get to see it in real life. This is why they
Right.
made that decision. This is why you have to have this part for this or that part for that. It's just especially for people who are into guns, Tarkov kinda opens the door for you into guns where you can
For
have a
sure.
reason to start learning about them. So and it's pretty cool just to learn about them. Like, they are very cool, especially, like, highly modded guns. It's just it's fun to
Very
learn about
interesting.
and
Yeah.
watch and see,
Well,
how they're made.
it's also cool as someone who like, I love guns, I've always loved guns, I love shooting, I've been relatively involved with guns for quite some time, and it's also cool to see them actually get it spot on, to get these things completely
Yeah,
accurate and understand why and how these things function. It's so Tarkov is with the gun game at least is just insane. They
authentic.
yeah, it is
Yeah,
yeah, that is the word to use. It is insanely authentic. They did not spare they didn't take any time off to say, you know what? It doesn't matter
yeah,
how the SKS works on the inside. You can slap this rail with this
yeah.
furniture and this optic. That's it. They're like, no, it's a full breakdown of each gun. They all function as they are intended to function in real life. And I would imagine when you break down the guns, we've seen the screenshots for them. They are insanely in depth. They are accurate to a T. So yeah, it is cool to
That's
see and
what
it's cool to appreciate.
when we talk about Tarkov's attention to detail or just design, that's another thing that separates them is most games will just take a base gun and just modify one existing gun into several different guns and throw
Right.
that in their game. Tarkov does not do that. It's shows how much work and time and thought and planning has went into this game. And it's stuff that a lot of people still don't understand and they don't get. So it's not like they're doing it for praise. They're doing it for authenticity because that's what they want. They're gun nuts. That's what they enjoy. Like they want their game to represent realism. And as far as the gunplay, it's not 100%, but it's as close as you can get in a video game, at least for now. Um, and it's just cool that they go that length, even
Yeah,
though no
absolutely.
one's asking them to. They just
Right.
do it.
Yeah.
But
Nikita
and it
and those guys at
teaches
BSG are
you
all gun nuts. So I think it was something they would do regardless. So that's really
well,
appreciative. Like that's awesome.
and someone like me, I was always into guns, but not to the depth that Tarkov has made
Right.
me.
Knowing how
And
to break
it's
them
like
down and fully rebuild them and yeah.
well, knowing like all ammo types and variations of ammo and things like that, it's like
That's
stuff I would have
true.
never really looked into. But what's
Right.
cool is now that I know, I see things that other
You
people
can
get
recognize
wrong.
them. Yeah.
I'm not gonna say who this person was, but they posted something. It's another developer, and they posted one of their new guns that they're building for their game. It was the AUG, and it was the 5.56 by 4.5 version of the AUG. and they were showing everything about it. And when they showed the ammo, they wrote beside it 545 by 30 millimeter, which is the Mars round, which is not made for the AUG and does not go
Yeah,
into the AUG.
not at
And it was
all.
just funny. I was like, normally I would not catch that, you know what I mean? But I know that now because of Tarkov.
Yeah, that's
And
fair.
it's just funny that, you know, a
A
developer who's
major
making a
developer.
gun gets it wrong, and then
Right.
I'm sitting there knowing that they're wrong. And I
Well,
just Tarkov is the only reason that exists. Like,
and this is a
that's the only reason
minor
I have that
thing.
information.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's
it's
not
a
a big deal.
minor.
It's just funny.
Well, no, but at the
It's
same time,
funny.
like,
I
it's a
know
minor
that.
thing to point out, but at the same time, it's like it goes to show the attention to detail, and it kinda shows the disconnect some studios have with
Yeah,
what they make,
yeah.
right? Like, some of these
It,
studios make these very in-depth, quote unquote, open world shooter, not necessarily open world, but like these extraction shooters and things like that in
yeah,
general. And they just don't know. So it's like when you finally get a studio and a company that does understand and does care enough to go in and put that attention to detail in, it like Adam said, one, it teaches you so much, and it really is something to appreciate about the company because most people wouldn't do that. And then when
right.
something happens
And
and goes wrong or functionality reasons or you're building this and that, like you can actually understand why it doesn't work instead of just that's a
right,
restriction. So that's really
but
cool. It's
it it shows you the difference because, you know, this dev was all proud of his thing that he built. You know, he was the designer of this gun, and he had made everything for it. And it just shows you like the difference between making sure you have everything right, knowing that you know how the gun works, you know what it uses. This guy was all proud and had went through probably a ton of work, but he still forgot to go and check and make sure he got the ammunition right. Like, it's just
right,
it.
right. It's a minor
And just
detail,
to
but
make
it's
sure I wasn't bugging, I was like, okay, you know, I'm gonna double check, make sure that maybe there is an AUG version that does that. So I looked it up just to double check, and there's not. So I
yeah,
was like, okay, I just, you know, I wanted to be sure. And it shows the difference, I think, between Tarkov or between Battle State Games and some other developers.
yeah, for
It's
sure.
minor, but it matters.
It does matter. It does add up, and it's just one more layer to that attention to detail that they get so right every time. Um,
And one more thing about Tarkov, we should be able to call it open world because each map is open and it is a world.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's not fully like the whole every map together, but when you're in a map, it's the definition of open world because you can go do anything in that map. You
Anything
can
within
go
the
anywhere
world,
in the
yeah,
map.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not linear based. You're not forced to go this way, that way. So
It's like a
yeah,
hub-based open world extraction shooter. It's
yeah,
actually a
yeah,
very genre-defining game. It's very,
yeah,
very cool,
yeah.
because they do check a lot of boxes. Um,
But
Tarkov
I
is just
catch
so one of
myself
a
saying
kind,
open
though.
world all the time, and then I correct myself. But you know what?
It
I'm gonna
kind of
keep
is.
saying open
Yeah,
world
it kind
because
of is,
it is
and
open
to a
world.
degree, yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
But yeah, that's everything I
just
have for the week. Is there anything else you wanted to?
no, nope. I am. That's all I got.
All right. Well, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like the vid and comment below something you'd like to see introduced to Tarkov to spice up the gameplay loop and keep things interesting. And of course, if you haven't yet, consider subscribing to the channel. We're on the road to 1K and it would help us out a lot. We'll catch you next week. See ya.